You're listening to Release Your Resistance with Bex Beltran, episode 86. Welcome to Release Your Resistance. This is Bex. The only reason why any of us don't have what we want in life is because of our own resistance. Right now, I'm learning how to recognize and release my resistance, and this podcast tells you how you can release your resistance so that you can live the exact life that you want. Let's get started. Do you know anyone who hates the idea of networking or showing up as a new person to a new place to meet new people? Or do you have any resistance to writing down your own life experiences and memories and things that you've done and created throughout your lifetime? Today's episode is going to be so great for you because I am interviewing my networking mentor, Karen Josephs, and she has so many fascinating things going on. I can't wait for you to hear everything that she has got going on. So let's go straight to our conversation. Hello, Karen. I am so happy to welcome you to the podcast today. How are you doing?
I am doing great, Bex. I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, thank you for coming because I'm so excited. You have got so many different things going on, and I cannot wait to hear about all of them. So as you know, this month in the podcast, I've been talking about transformations, and you have had many recently, and you're about to enter a transformation for yourself. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, what's going on with you.
Sure. I am a fun-loving connector. So you're probably thinking, well, what does that mean? Well, that means I just love connecting people. For instance, I use it now with our networking organization, 7 Networking. And when I met you, Bex, I just loved your infectious smile and how kind you are and sweet you are. And I meet people who are resistant in things in their life, then I'm like, oh, light bulb goes off. And I'm like, I can connect them with Bex and hopefully she can help them. So that is what I love to do. I'm loving your networking notebook now, the little journal, because I'm out and about networking all day, every day. And it's great for taking notes. And I'm always mentioning you and seeing who I can connect you with so that they can get to know you better, of course, because that's what networking is about, building those relationships, but also purchasing a journal or two or using your services.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that so much. And you have definitely connected me with people. Out of the blue, I'll get a message from you like, hey, I just met so-and-so. Why don't you reach out? Even I think our very first meeting before I even joined your organization, you had already connected me with someone. And that was just amazing. So that speaks to 2 of your really important qualities. I know you have so many important qualities, but 2 of them are you are a people person, you are a connector, and you are so kind. Backing up a little bit to talk about your networking organization, I just want to congratulate you on your 12-year anniversary this month in August. That is an amazing accomplishment, amazing thing that you created out of nothing, which is one of my favorite topics, is that we can create what we want for ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so we're going to celebrate that. And there's still time for anyone who's just meeting you on this podcast for the first time. We'll save that to the end to talk about how people can celebrate here in August. But speaking about resistance, because that's what I like to talk about too. People do, when they hear the word networking, maybe they like a wall, some defenses come up because maybe people don't want to network, and not even talking about business people, just people in general who just want to have more connections in their life or make new friends. But when they hear the idea of why don't you just go and meet a bunch of strangers?
It's scary,
right?
It is so scary. For instance, today, I have lots and lots of communities. So 7 Networking is my business. But I have a New Yorkers living in the desert, huge Facebook group with over 3,000 people. And we're having a New Yorkers, a ladies' lunch today. And people reach out to me and they say, Karen, are any newbies going to come? I'm afraid to come. And I get this with networking as well. People are afraid to come when they don't know anyone there. And I tell them, I say, you know what? Come, I will take you under my wing. I will, sit by you if you want me to do that. I will hold your hand. You will meet some nice, kind people. And, you know, what could be the worst thing that happens? But yes, people are resistant. And I get it. It can be very scary to go to a networking meeting, people you don't know, and this is your business that you're going to talk about. I used to be afraid to get up and speak in front of public. So I know that fear. When I was a child in school and the teacher would call on me to read something, a paragraph, my palms would sweat. My heart would, like practically beat out of my chest. So I get that. It can be very overwhelming. It can be very scary, but we all in life, in business, in anything, we need to get out of our comfort zone to grow, right? We hear that over and over again. I remember when I went to my very first networking meeting, I was scared as well. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? And my husband, when we moved to Arizona, he opened a business. He services computers. I could barely turn a computer on 12 years ago. So I was like, what am I going to talk about? And my friend said, just come. You'll meet people. That's what networking is. That's the resistance we have to get past. View it as you're going out, you're going to meet some new people. Maybe you'll meet some people you like. Maybe you'll meet some people you don't like, but that's fine too, right? You got to get out there. I always say, like, as a business owner, nobody knocks on your door and says, Bex, are you a resistance coach? Did that ever happen to you?
Has not happened yet, but I'm open to the possibility.
Right. So we have to get out there and we have to, push past the resistance and just do it. We just got to get out there and we just have to do it.
I love that. Yes. And your enthusiasm, your welcoming nature, it helps people. Especially, I love that you will tell people if they are willing to tell you, like, hey, I'm nervous, I'm scared, I don't want to be the only one. You are able to say, I'm going to be there with you. You're not going to be alone. It's going to be fine. So that's very helpful. And if anyone happens to be going into a new environment and Karen's not with you, just remember there's probably someone else there who would be just as kind and welcoming as Karen. So maybe that's a belief or a thought you could practice thinking to overcome any resistance to showing up someplace new and alone and putting yourself out there. So let's talk about kindness. So I heard you mention the New York group, which I didn't know anything about. So I'm so glad you mentioned it because we can also post the link to that in the show notes in case anyone listening is a transplant from New York or just visiting from New York and wants to check you out. Tell me, so I didn't know you had that group. So you have 7 networking years of business.
Lots of different communities.
Okay, great. I
Yep.
love it. So you have the New York group and then you have Kindest Connectors. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So that was a vision I had, I don't even know how many years ago, was to bring some kind people together to actually do some fun kindness activities in the community. The funny thing is that I started the group years back and it was kind of dead for a while. I almost was on the verge of just closing the group down. I was like, you know what? I'm the only one posting in there every day. And you know what it's like when you have a group and there's kind of crickets, you're like, yeah, I can use my time better spent somewhere else. So then all of a sudden, I don't know, a couple of years ago, people started posting in there and engaging. And then we started really going out into the community in the Chandler, Gilbert, Mesa, Scottsdale, Phoenix area and doing acts of kindness. We would come together and we would go to a memory care facility and we had Fabulous Fridays. We would bring flowers and do flower arrangements with them and kindness visits. It just started growing from there. And even if people aren't in the Phoenix area, I just feel like there's ripples. And when you hear someone's doing something kind in their neighborhood, you're like, oh, you know what? Maybe I can do that even if you live in South Dakota, right? So it's just the ripples. We fed the homeless. We have done lots of work with the elderly because I feel like that's really a forgotten group of people. Unfortunately, breaks my heart. We've done lots and lots of events. COVID, obviously, we did less events going out into the community, but we're gearing up for a huge event close to Veterans Day. We're going to do a brunch for about 200 veterans. So we're super excited about that. And we just go wherever there's a need for us in the community. If a dog, rescue needs us, we put out there, hey, this dog rescue needs some help. Can anyone go and help? So we're not just going out to one certain, demographic. We will go where we're needed. And the group is so large that it's nice because some people want to go and volunteer with a pet rescue. Some people want to feed the homeless. Some people are interested in the veterans. So that has been wonderful.
I
So
love
yeah,
that.
so
Yeah.
lots of good stuff happening. My hope was to do one community outreach a month. Sometimes we do one a month. Sometimes we've done a lot for the women's shelters, for domestic violence shelters. We've put together hundreds of holiday gifts for them. We did a spa day for them a couple years ago. That was wonderful. Speaking of resistance, these women who are living, they leave their homes, right? Sometimes in the middle of the night with the clothes on their back and their kids, right?
Yeah.
And they go somewhere. And then they're rehabilitated back into the community. They help them get jobs. They help their kids go to school.
Right.
So these women who will come in who are so beaten down.
Yeah.
And, we did this whole spa day where they had their hair done and they had their nails done and they had facials and then they had their pictures, they had photographs done, and they were just beaming because they were built up, they were boosted up, their confidence levels, and they felt wonderful. So my motto or my feeling about life is we're all put on this earth to help others.
Yes.
So be it, wherever you can help someone, maybe it's a smile, maybe it's telling someone, I love what you're wearing today, your dress, your shoes. It just really boosts someone up and helps to, make their day. So the more we can do that, the more we can spread around, I feel like the world will just be a better place.
And even like you said, smiling, giving someone a compliment, just holding the door for someone, or just making eye contact with someone. Even these are easy and free for us to do all day long. We can do that, maybe not 24 hours a day because some of the day we're at home by ourselves, but
right. Well, even when we're home by ourselves, we can be kind to our children, our spouses, our significant others.
Totally.
There's lots we can or we can be kind to ourselves. Yes, we can take care of ourselves because that was another thing. I never did that for many years. I was taking care of my mom, and I didn't realize, in raising a family, I didn't realize I was supposed to ever do anything for myself. So
good reminder. Good reminder. Wow, I have learned so much about you just in the last 15 minutes, and we've known each other for a year. So I just love this. So that's another plug for getting to know someone. Yes, if you meet them casually in an event or at a dinner or a lunch or something, you know each other, you've seen each other, you're familiar with each other, but take the time, like Karen always says, schedule some time, have a heart-to-heart, talk to them, get to know them. You'll be surprised at what you learn. And it's a great connection. So because this month I'm focusing on transformations and how our lives completely change from something we couldn't have even imagined 5 years ago to what's coming or what we're creating for ourselves in the future, you're creating something new for yourself, and it's very dear to your heart. Tell us about what's next for you.
Sure. I am excited. I'm a little teary because there's just so many emotions that go along with this next business for myself. It is called Tea Story. It is an idea I had actually probably about 4 years ago, right after my mom passed away. And I actually had a logo made for it, interestingly enough. And I started thinking about it, but I was like, you know what? The timing is just not right. So I put it on hold, right? The older I get, I'm 56 now, and I've always had this belief that I don't want to, put things off till forever, because I never want to look back on my life and say, I wish I could have, I should have, and I would have. I was on a networking call one day and chatting with this woman, and the light bulb went off in my head. And I said to myself, you know what? Now is the time. Now is the time, right? So I'm starting a tea story business, and it's going to be these delicious, yummy loose leaf teas. But more importantly, it is going to be a way to get people to come together, be it either in person or virtually on Zoom, to start sharing their stories and getting them written down in this beautiful journal. Once again, a journal. I know you love your journals. And this one has prompts, just like your journals do, and a place for photos and a place for us to get our stories written down, because unfortunately, we are not going to be here forever. And my dad passed away at the young age of 59. Mm-hmm. I guess he was sick for a few years, but it was kind of sudden in the end. No one
Mm-hmm.
expected him to pass when he did. And he traveled the world. He worked in the garment center. He spent probably 8 months out of the year out of the country in Hong
Wow.
Kong, in Indonesia, and Sri Lanka, in China, and Japan, and Korea. And I was young then. So he probably had, I know he had the most amazing stories. I have a bag of photos now. I don't have his stories because he's gone, but I have photos. I only wish that I took the time to listen to his stories. I'm going to cry now.
Oh,
To
yeah.
get his stories written down, for him to share his stories. And, we can't go back in time, but my feeling is we can get our stories written down now because we don't know what's going to happen with our own life. The tea part comes in that he brought home this beautiful teapot from Sri Lanka with green tea. And that started we would drink a pot of green leaf tea after dinner in the evening when he was home and he wasn't traveling. And I have the teapot, I have the, teacups, and I have a bag of photos from his travels, but that's pretty much all that I have. So I can't believe I'm so emotional over this, but
It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. And it comes through how much this is important to you and how important it is that other people have the experience that you missed out on.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then my mom, when she passed away 4 years ago, I begged her for years. She was a character in and of herself, but I begged her. She had these great stories. My grandmother used to have these great stories, and I would say, you have to write these down. And she would say, no, I can't write. My hand hurts. So thank goodness, about a year before she passed, I didn't know she was going to pass. She was also young. She was only 77. But I hired someone to come and do a video of her life. Danielle Lind, who I think you know well with Preservation Project, she came to my mom's assisted living and made a whole video, which I haven't even been able to watch since my mom passed.
Sure. Yeah.
But one of these days, I'm going to be brave. I'm going to push past my resistance.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it because stories are just, the stories of our life, right?
Yeah.
Everyone
Totally.
is unique. Everyone
Yeah.
has had a different journey, but everyone has a story. I feel like my calling now, moving into from here on in my life, my calling is going to be to get people to write their stories down. And it
Oh,
doesn't have to be anything, it can just be little tidbits about their lives. It doesn't, just things like I know my grandchildren one day might say, I don't have grandchildren yet, but I'm hoping one day I will.
sure.
Where did my grandma grow up? And how did she meet grandpa? And, all kinds of things, just little things about your life and these are things I wish I could ask my parents right now, and I just can't.
Oh,
So you
so
made me cry,
amazing.
and it
Oh,
takes a lot.
well, I am so grateful that you were willing to be vulnerable and share. I think when we hear the emotion from other people, it ignites something in us. It awakens something in us. And so then we pay attention a little bit more and we notice, wow, this is important. Wow, she is connected to this. Should I be connected to this? So as uncomfortable as maybe it is to cry publicly, I also think it's such a beautiful, beautiful, vulnerable sharing thing that you do and that you are
Well,
doing and that
see,
you're encouraging.
you make people feel very comfortable. So I thank you for that because,
Oh,
you're very
yes.
welcoming and, yeah, people feel comfortable always on your podcast, but also in person. So
Oh, thank you.
thank you for that.
Yeah, the other thing that I want to say about you sharing the real motivation and the real reason behind tea stories is it just is so important. We can hear that in your voice and in your story and the authenticity of it. And hopefully this also motivates someone else. You've given a lot of really good suggestions. Like if somebody doesn't want to write, videotape it. That's no problem. If someone feels like I don't want to write my own stories, maybe someone feels like I'm not a writer, I wouldn't want to write it down. What if you find a partner who to tell so it's more conversational than some people find writing a chore? It feels a
Mhm.
little like a homework type of a thing. So you've given a lot of great options and suggestions for someone who might feel some resistance about I'm not a writer, I don't want to write, I don't like my handwriting. It seems a little self-centered to write my own story down, but it's so valuable for other people. And we all learn from each other, right? So yeah, that's
Sure.
amazing.
Yes. That's what
Yeah.
life's about. And you know what? I'm not a writer. but I
Okay.
just know the importance of this. I don't like writing. I had a teacher in school years ago who told me I was not a good writer. So I've
Oh, she
had
was wrong.
resistance. I just know the importance of this when we're not here. I know that our
Hmm.
families are going to want to know our stories.
And I love that you recognize that you have this personal belief about your desire to write, and you were overcoming it. You're overcoming that personal belief because this is so important to you. This creation, this idea, having this in the world for other people is so important to you. And
And
it's
you
mhm.
know what else? Another part to that is we're going to do it together. We're going to
Yes,
do it at Tea Story gatherings because I know anyone and everyone can buy a journal. But what's going to happen? That journal is just going to sit somewhere on a shelf, right?
yes,
Never get written in. And then when, the grandkids come to clean out your house when you're not here anymore, they're going to open it up and be like, oh my God, look, and then there's nothing written in there. So
yeah,
we have to get this written down now. We have to at least start writing when we come to our Tea Story gatherings so that we can get these stories written down.
yes.
Because I don't just want to sell journals and have people just store them away somewhere. What's the point of that? That's just a waste of money.
Yes.
And you might as well not even purchase it, right?
I agree. Yes. And so, yeah, I love that you're bringing in the public accountability part of it too, because some of us do need to have someone else looking at us in the face saying, okay, go ahead and start. Okay, go ahead
Right.
and
Yeah.
this is the time that we're doing
Or
this
or
because otherwise,
we get super busy, right?
right.
Life is busy. And it's like, oh, I don't have time to write in that journal. Well, you know what? We're going to make the time.
Yes, I love it. And it'll be an enjoyable time where you get to have an experience, have some tea, have a nice environment. So, yeah, let's get into some of the mechanics of that if you want. If you know it yet, do you know where you'll be doing, where you're getting the tea? What
Yeah.
what's
Well,
going on with all that?
the tea is all formulated. It's all loose leaf tea. It was formulated actually by a 7 member. She used to live here in Arizona. You're going to meet her because she's coming down in a couple weeks. She'd moved up to North Dakota to take care of her father-in-law, but she had an essential oil store in Mesa for many years.
Okay.
And she's a certified aromatherapist and herbalist. So once again, through networking, that's how I met her. Her name is Penny. So she's formulated all the teas. We've been going back and forth. She sends me ones to try. And then I say, oh, let's add a little bit more chamomile here, or let's add a little bit more, blueberry to this one. So we finally have them all formulated. There's going to be 8 different teas. So we're going to be selling those.
Nice.
And I'm not opening up, people are like, where are you opening up your tea shop? I'm not doing that
Okay,
because I
good.
know myself and I know
Yes.
I don't want to be sitting in a tea shop all day long. As much as I love people, I like to be out. I like to be moving around. So people will either come to my home
Okay.
and I will host the Tea Story gatherings here. People can say, listen, will you come to my house? So if it's
Nice.
in the Chandler, Gilbert, Mesa area, I will
Mm-hmm.
definitely come to people's homes and bring everything. Or we will do it virtually on Zoom.
Yeah.
We're living in this Zoom world these days since COVID. So yeah, so we can do it right here on Zoom. We'll send out the materials before the event. People will sign up. They'll choose the 3 teas they want to sample. They'll order their journal and it will get sent right to your house. And you can be right in the comfort of your own home. And we'll be chatting and looking at pictures and talking about people's lives and starting to get everything in the journal. That's
I
the main
love
thing. I want
this.
people to
Yes.
start writing in the journal. So,
Yes. Okay, now everyone's just sitting on the edge of their seat. They've got their calendars and their pens out. When does this start? How do I sign up?
right. Well, we're still working on getting the website up and running.
Okay.
But crossing my fingers, the journal went to the publisher just yesterday. So hopefully
Congratulations.
there will not be a lot of revisions. So we'll see
Okay.
what happens with that. So we're hoping to do a soft launch, cross your fingers, on September 2nd, which is a Thursday. It'll be at my home in Chandler. And if you want to book a time to get together with, 5, 6, 7 friends, whoever, I think it's a great girls' night out. It's great for Bible study groups, showers. I mean, any kind of family reunions, bring people together, get them working on the journal. They can just reach out to me and My calendar is wide open at the moment, and we'll pick a spot and everything will get sent right to your home, or I will bring the materials if you're local to me in Arizona. It'll be about an hour and a half, 2 hours of just hunkering down and getting things going and tasting these delicious teas, which I am so super excited about.
I am so excited about this too. Again, keeping with the transformation theme, I just want to fast forward now to the Karen of 2026. You've been doing your tea stories for about 5 years now. What else do you think will have happened? What will you have learned? What will you have created? What's going on for you in 2026?
I really don't know. I hope to be a grandma by then, but we'll
Okay.
see. Who knows?
No pressure, but yes, maybe.
I don't know. I think I'll be doing what I'm doing. I see Seven Networking, going strong in 2026 and Tea Story as well. And yeah, I just, loving life, getting out there, helping others, being, active in the community, and yeah, just following along in my path.
I love it. And yes, it's so interesting because I want to like tea, but every time I taste it, I don't like the taste. It's just like one of those things that I wish I did. I tried it and I don't. And I'm a solo journaler. Like I love my journaling practice. And so when you say, why don't you come to a tea party and journal with someone else? Like my defenses go up. I'm like, no. But
resistance,
right?
Resistance.
Totally. But the way that you described it, no resistance at all. I'm like, I'll try that tea that you just described. I'm down for it. If I'll just take a sip, if I don't like it, I'll try the next one. No problem.
Well,
I would want to bring my mom and dad and sisters and friends to the event that you just described. That sounds amazing.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever tried loose leaf tea?
I'm sure I have, but I don't know. I haven't maybe. Yeah. So I'm open. I've tried so many teas because I want to be a tea lover. And I do like herbal tea, it's a possibility.
We have some herbal ones. We have a chocolate chai, which is so yummy and so delicious. One of my favorites is we have a cinnamon sensation, which is like cinnamon and marigold petals in it.
Okay.
And white tea and little pieces of apricot, dried apricot. Oh my goodness. I could eat it plain.
Okay.
Delicious.
Oh yeah. No, you've definitely overcome my initial resistance, which I wasn't even resistant really, because knowing you and your style of doing things and hearing how this came from I have an amazing business idea, but this is an important thing that people need in their lives and would bring so much value to them. I was already in before you said tea and journaling.
All right, well, we'll get you on the calendar.
Yes, sounds good. And before that celebration, which I didn't even realize it was right around the corner, you have another celebration coming up. So this episode should air on August 27th. So it'll be next week then. What do you have going on next week in a celebration?
Well, it's going to be August 31st, so it's the end of the month, and we're having a celebration on Zoom to celebrate 12 wonderful years of Seven Networking. Now, we should reach out to Deirdre because she should come, because I know she's your dear friend, and she was at our first Seven Networking meeting 12 years ago, and she named the group. We were originally the Southeast Valley Entrepreneurial Network, and now we're branched out of the Southeast Valley, so just kept the Seven supporting and empowering the vision of entrepreneurial networking. But yes, everyone is invited. It is going to be on Zoom. We're having a magician come. I like fun. My motto is, if it's not fun, I don't want any part of it. Life is too short. I'm a cancer survivor, and I wake up every day. I thank God that I'm still here, but I want to have fun. Yes. So we're going to have a magician. We're going to have a little comedy, giveaways, and all people need to do is message me at events at 7 with the dashes, s-e-v-e-n.org. The first 50 people will get a raffle ticket in the mail, and also 9 playing cards, because our magician says that we need them for part of his act.
I've RSVP'd already, and I've already got my 9 playing cards ready to go. So everything that you just said as far as the details, I'll definitely have in the show notes at the website. My website, it's bexb.org, and then we'll do /Karen, Karen. So it's just easy for anyone who might be listening while they're driving or walking or doesn't have a way to remember. They can just remember the website, bexb.org/Karen. Karen, Karen, and then they can find all the details of what you just mentioned.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Bex. You are delightful. I'm happy to be on here and wish you lots of luck going forward with your business because you are just amazing.
Oh, well, right back at you. I could have said exactly the same. So much luck, but you don't need luck, but so much joy, fun, stories, so much of that for you. And you are also amazing. And thank you again so much for making this happen and letting me celebrate not only 7, but the launch of Tea Stories and everything else that you've got going on. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Karen, for that amazing conversation. It was so fun and so interesting to hear everything that you have been creating and working on. And as a reminder for everyone who's listening, this is the last week of the month. So next month, I will be sending out the notebook newsletter. Make sure you're on the email list for that so that you can receive a quick video of me showing off some of the new journals and notebooks in the notebook shop. Plus, you'll get some great information on note-taking, list-making, or journal writing. And of course, I'll be telling you how you can get a free notebook from me. Make sure that you're on that email list. Just go to bexb.org/quickshop, scroll all the way down past all the journals and notebooks, and find the field to enter your email address. Immediately, you will get a list of 52 journal prompts, and then at the first week of every new month, you'll get one email from me with the notebook newsletter. You don't want to miss it. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk with you next week. This has been Release Your Resistance. Thank you for listening. If you like this podcast, make sure you're subscribed and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Also, think about someone who you know who would love this episode and share it with them. There should be a share button on your app if you're listening to this on your phone. If you'd like to continue this conversation one-on-one or in real time, come visit me on my site at bexb.org to see how we can work together.